Hello everyone, thanks for joining us here on Horizon. Well, here's a troubling fact. Nationwide, 1 in every 33 Americans is either in prison or jail or serving some type of probation or parole. And while the U.S. makes up just 5% of the world's population, we account for 25% of those jailed globally. And that can get expensive. Since Ronald Reagan was president, prison spending has increased by 5-fold nationwide, a problem that is making some strange bedfellows at our own state capitol. Both conservative and liberals are supporting legislation that could change who's heading into prison and how long they serve. Oklahoma prisons are busting at the seams, hemorrhaging money that many say the state can't afford. State Representative Leslie Osborne.
We started looking at the violence. It's about locking up the people that are violent and making sure the ones that aren't really violent, we're getting out of there, but we're doing something else to punish them.
Well, Oklahoma ranks first in the nation when incarcerating women and fourth when incarcerating men. Currently, our prisons are at 99% capacity, with an overwhelming majority of inmates either nonviolent or elderly, which has some asking the question of when does an inmate no longer pose a threat to society.
We have a criminal justice system that has been built far too much around revenge and retribution and this idea that says, well, it's this crime, so it's this much time, and not as much around really looking at why the crime happened and what you got to do to fix the problem. It's a bit of a gateway.
Brady Henderson is the legal director for the Oklahoma chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union and says Oklahoma's judicial system has a dangerous addiction of its own, which is in need of serious treatment.
We have an over-incarceration addiction that is so bad, one day in rehab's not going to fix it. I mean, that's what it fundamentally comes down to. We've spent years building up a system that locks up way too many of our citizens and does so in many cases for the wrong reasons.
Oklahoma has more than 25,000 incarcerated inmates, and almost a fifth of those are considered senior citizens, which is why Representative Jeannie McDaniel authored a bill that would offer elderly inmates a chance at parole.
I think our average cost for a prisoner is probably, $23,000 to $25,000 a year. But as we age, we need dialysis, heart disease, and all the other things that aging bodies go through. And because people age at such a faster rate in prison without exercise and a different quality of life, we know that they are going to cost more.
I asked the district attorneys.
Yet State Representative Osborne says lawmakers must be careful not to overreach when reworking crime and punishment.
We have to be really careful as a legislature that we make boundaries and parameters, but thank goodness we elect district attorneys and the people that are able to see that, and then they can use their own discretion.
And discretion is something Henderson, a former district attorney, says must be used when prosecuting crime.
Unfortunately, as a prosecutor, we take a snapshot of somebody's life. When someone was before me on a docket, usually what I knew of that person was the worst thing they ever did. And that's what I knew about them.
An unfortunate reality that leads to harsher sentences, more punitive than they need to be.
If somebody is not violent, why in the world are we locking them up, taking them off the payrolls, taking them off of paying taxes, taking them away from their families? Yes, we've got to find ways to make them productive to society while still making a system of where they are impugned, where they're paying back to society.